What's up everybody, Mashcorp's here with another video mock review, this time with Toa Baron. So I haven't really posted this guy anywhere. He was in, for a second, in my review of the fourth version of my self-mock, Relic. But this is basically, he's also my secondary self-mock. If you've been following for a while, you know that, but just to clear up, because I haven't really posted him in any form in a while. But basically, he was this, if you go back and watch the videos, he was this really large, Titan-sized figure that was actually probably the first mock I ever built, ever. And he was made majority out of Rudaka and whoever that other guy was, the other, like, main leader of the Visorak, the Visorak King. Don't remember his name, but I had, like, there were two of the big sets I got because remember that wave, the Hordika wave. Whoopsies. I didn't get like any of the Hordika, or I think I got like one of the Visorak, but then I got all of the Titans. You know, just how funds work out when you're 10. I think I was 11 or 10 when those came out. But anyways, so he's this large Titan. Made out of those two sets, and he just, when he first was built, he did look pretty bleh, but I did improve him over the years, but he never really had, like, the same level of posability or the same form that I really had reached with my other mocks. So this is kind of a reworking of actually two mocks, mainly him, and that's where he gets, like, his character and his namesake. But also, I remember I was going to just build, like, a super simple mock just to be, like, something that I could display riding some of those, like, Technic vehicles, which I happen to own a few of. I think mostly, or, like, mainly it was a snow speeder. Anyways, so I made a super simple mock that was, like, all black, and then I had a lot of, like, Vakama kind of armor, so I used that mask. But I ended up saying, like, that was like a smaller form of Baron. And now officially in the story, what I have him sort of like characterized as is a reworking of his form in this more smaller physical design. I kept the Vakama mask because that's actually the mask he has on his shoulders, on his shoulder plates. So I thought having it kind of like transition onto his actual face was a good look, and I didn't necessarily like the look of putting the like modified Vahi head that had the mouth that Rudaka had, which was what I used for the original form of Baron. That I didn't feel like that really worked on this head. So yeah, enough about the story. I think you understand. It's a smaller version of my secondary self-mock that's in a Toa form. And that's like part of the story is that he pretends to be a Toa even though he, for years, masqueraded as a Makuta, and in actuality he's not really like any specific species. He's just like a Titan class sort of character in the same vein that Bard, his brother, obviously is, and Godfather, which I posted a while ago. So, getting the actual mock, starting with the feet. Feet are pretty basic and also very not well lit. They're just Metru feet, with some stuff in. Use this one. With some stuff in the back to just kind of fill up the gaps. So yeah, pretty simple. Upper leg is just that kind of design with this sort of, I don't know what to call this, but like a cockpit maybe kind of shaped Technic rod or Technic lift arm kind of piece. Just with a bunch of stuff filling in all the gaps back there just to make it solid. And then on the front, I have a Hordika foot. Yeah, Hordika foot. In red. I forget which set this came on. I know one of the Baraki had like the one that had the sort of fins, the wing thingies on the side. Also, I'm just going to, his hand keeps getting in the way, so I'm just going to tear him in half here. Alright, I had the wing things on the side. I don't know where this specific one came from, but I know like the set only had one, so I got another one on Bricklink or something, so I could have both of them like that. Knee simple. Has a really good bend because of how like unobstructed it is, and this armor has like the cut there, which you would swear is intentional to allow this kind of thing. Which maybe it was, I don't know. I feel like a lot of sets didn't do this back when this piece was first invented. Well, okay, it was first invented in the Slicers, but then when it was used a lot in the Hordika line, which is where I got these off of. Sidorak, that was his name. Sidorak. Sidorak and Rudaka were the two guys that built this guy. Made that of. Guy and girl. Yeah. Anyways, upper leg, again, very simple. I'm kind of not a fan necessarily of how I built this. Especially with this piece, like, it kind of juts out on the side here and then leaves a gap in here. I haven't necessarily figured out a better way of doing that. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of how that's built and looked. But yeah, the upper leg's pretty simple. It's very like, I don't know what the word is. Symmetrical, that's it. The waist, you've just got regular hand crotch design on the back, bunch of Technic pieces, and then something about the waist. So if you see there's a light gray lift arm, this comes to, I'll probably change that eventually, but this comes to the point, or a thing about this guy that I had since the first version of building him is kind of just a general design theme I like with him. Like, I'm trying to think of other examples I have in my MOCs. I can't really think of any. I don't know, but it has nothing to do with the character, but it's just a fun thing with the MOC itself. Like a challenge in building anything, you know. So this is the only piece in the entire set that is not black, red, dark gray, or orange. And the original version of him was strictly just black and red. Every single piece was black and red. Like I scoured forever to find a bunch of black, 3 long rods that go through a lot of his legs and up here, of course. Because I just thought it would be a fun thing to just have the MOC be entirely black and red, and it really brings the color scheme together. Because, there are like a lot of MOCs, or at least at the time I was building a lot of MOCs that had like silver and black just kind of thrown in because that's what the Technic pieces were most readily available in. But I really wanted to just solidify this guy's design. Kind of like Loki, who has the red and gray color scheme. He still has some like light gray pieces in him, but it's mostly the dark gray and the mono red. And this guy's black and Metro red, of course. So, just gonna stick his upper body back on. Let's even take a look at that. I cannot tilt the camera. Cool. So the upper body is like mostly black, so it's gonna be kind of hard to see things. I'll see if I can catch it in the light properly. You can see it's pretty like densely packed in there. I really like just this kind of area in general because it has this chain that comes around. It's just kind of not necessarily fill in gaps, but just kind of like even out the shape of the torso. Because as you can see, it's got a very like angular shape. Like everything goes down by half a stud length or rod length the whole way down, which makes it very triangular. And that's I think a really good effect. Maybe even done better than how I did it on Relic. Oh, but yeah, this chain just loops around, and then on the front, so it has these bars that come down. And for a while, they just kind of sat there, and they could move out. But as you can see, they can't really now, because I actually stuck I don't know what that piece is called. It's like a handlebar piece. I can probably just remove it. Like, yeah, there we go. Kind of show you. Yeah, let's focus on that. Nah. Alright, that was even worse. Goodness. Come on. Well, you can see there's like this handlebar piece. And then I just have one of those like smaller limb pieces. I'm not really sure what to call that, but limb pieces on it. And then, I forget how I put this on. Oh, that's how I put it on. Alright, cool. And then, see, it just kind of slides in. It actually works out really well, like in terms of connecting all of that. I'm very, very impressed with that. So yeah, On the chest, there's a heart light which can slide, not intentionally, but there's just no way for me to get that not to slide. But yeah, there's an orange heart light. The arms, I'm not going to pop off. It's kind of a pain, actually. Arms have the mesh root armor, and then a black bulwark eye, and it's a super simple design. It's like the basic design for any sort of limb, where it's just of this size, where it's hand, lift arm, this thing, ball joint. You know, it's super easy. And then got another orange light there on the shoulder. Pull the arm down so I can take a look at that. Sorry. So I've got the red scroll armor. The thing came on a Hero Factory set. And the funny story about that was, I remember I got the one of them, and I'm like, oh, cool. I could probably use this on an arm or something. But I didn't have two, so I know I couldn't make it symmetrical, so I think I maybe used it, I maybe used it on a arm for relic or something. But, oh, there we go. The freaking focus. Anyways, but I knew I couldn't use it on a symmetrical design. But then when I was rebuilding this guy, I just found another one. Maybe I ordered off of Brinklink. I really don't remember. That was probably it. But I have two, so I'll use it on him. It just comes off here, and then design in there again, really easy. This guy's design, honestly, even in the torso, is pretty simplistic. The torso is probably the most complex section. That or the lower legs. But yeah, overall, this guy's design is honestly really easy. And I'm sure you could build it if you wanted. Focus. You were focused a second ago. So, whatever. Hands. Again, very basic. I actually used one of these black, like T pneumatic pieces here, which started coming out, I think just this past year, in like the Minecraft sets, and also just in general when they wanted to use one of those in black. So I'm really, really happy about this. It means that now I could have made, like, he had a gray one here, obviously, because he had to. But now I can make him entirely black and red without, like, putting one of those, system pieces that goes across the hand here, which I don't necessarily like the look of, at least not on this kind of design. I go in the back of the torso real quick. He has a Vizirek foot right here, which is a bunch of lift arm kind of builds up there, and then we have one of the pieces that has the ball joint on it, like that connects all the Technic stuff. Oh, and in back there you can see there's a it's like Koli Matoran bodies, which I think actually uses like leg armor on the original Baron. So putting it in there, I think it looks cool. Gives like the gear and doesn't really hinder the neck. But the ball joints, well, I'll get to that later actually. And finally, the head, as you probably saw there, is custom. Just pull the mask off there. Again, very simple design. It's a unfocused. That made it worse. Goodness. I wonder how much of like reviews like this are just spent trying to focus things. Anyways, so as you can see, it's very. Oh God, that really bothers me. Very simple design. It's just a hand connector, a ball joint back here, that's probably as good as we're gonna get. This is a rod back here, and I made it the one with the stud on the back just so it like holds. One of these like oval pieces, which are just cool. It's a good shape. I really like using them. And then another one of these kind of connectors, and then the mask just slides over it. Fits in pretty well actually. A lot of masks it won't fit over it because it comes out so far here versus a regular head. But this actually works pretty well. And then just pegging that back in. Alright, so on those ball joints, he has two main accessories, and the first one are just a pair of wings. Yeah, no one saw that coming. I mean, he had wings on one of the original versions, but they were the exact same pieces, so they looked kind of dinky. Whereas now they actually look pretty menacing on this version, because they actually scale pretty well. Let's see if we can get all of that in shot. Yay! And then the other accessory as is much smaller, but actually much more important from a story standpoint. And there we go. It's this little thing. Again, focused. There we go. It's doesn't really look like much just because of the scale and what it would have to look like, but it's whoa. It's from a story standpoint. It's something he actually had in the past, but it looked much different. I actually prefer this design, especially with the orange chain here, which I got off of Skull Slicer. And it was actually when I saw that, I was really happy because I knew immediately I was going to use it for this, because it fits with his color scheme, obviously. Anyways, I just used a dish piece. It's a much more simple design and much more sleek design than the old one. But basically, from a story standpoint, is that it was what Po Nua, the old form of my self-mock relic, was guarding. Him and a team of characters who I have old photos of and I can probably upload at some point, but I never posted. But him and a team of other characters that were built in the same vein as him protected an island that had this item in it, and it's item built by the Great Beings. That did I say the name already? It's the Watch of Deconstruction. And it's basically an item that can completely deconstruct anything in the Matoran universe. It's used in my story, most notably when Makuta Baron, it's just Baron. He's not a Makuta, whatever. When Baron gives it to Benzer to kill Trinidax. I think you can read that in Tying Up Loose Ends. I think that's the end of the story. Yeah. But yeah, so that's its story importance, is basically that it's a thing that can ultimately destroy anything, which obviously is a very powerful item in any sense. So, and then he stole it from Po Nua's island. So I'm just gonna I hooked it to his boat, and then I'm gonna put it in his hand. Oh god, let's just that. I'll just have him do that. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so that is unfocused. That is Toa Baron, or just he's my secondary self-mock Baron. I'm really, really happy with this final version. He's honestly a ton of fun to pose. I'm not going to put him in anything super dynamic, but he's got a lot of range of motion because of his simplistic design in part. Ton of fun to pose, really dynamic shape that really makes him look good in a lot of poses. I like that I was able to finally incorporate these wings, which I've had for years and years. I was able to put this together just recently because I just recently got Skull Slicer. And yeah, I'm just really happy with how he turned out, and that I finally have this kind of definitive version of him.